Are you as confused, uncertain, frustrated, and nervous about what's coming after this NAR settlement? Stay tuned. We're going to try and clear things up. Welcome back, everybody, to Why It Matters, your passport to navigating the ever-changing real estate, mortgage, and economic landscapes with some life hacks thrown in here and there. I'm Justin Knoll.
And I'm Nicole Ruth. We're here to empower you to better serve your clients by staying ahead of the game.
Welcome back to Why It Matters, where we just tackle everything real estate, mortgage, housing industry. We want to dig right in and bring you along for the ride. Today, we are joined by two of our favorite people in the Denver market, two of the executives from RE Colorado, the largest MLS in Colorado, one of the largest in the region. They got some big things to talk about after this settlement and also where they're going. So I want to introduce you. Hi, Nicole, before we introduce. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. Zoom.
Yeah, we got to bring it in here. Nicole, do you want to talk before we do intro, just briefly about the market, what you're seeing? I know we've got, economic indicators that are saying maybe some rate drops, maybe not. Who knows? This is where I lean on you. What do you got quickly for us?
My goodness. So the NAR settlement happened, and it just seems like every single day there's news, breaking news, big news. We know that Fed Chair Powell came out swinging that we're not dropping the rates. But we also are trying to decipher, based on the economy and the GDP not slowing down nearly as much as we'd like to see, that we're also starting to see inflation is staying strong. We know rates are going to take longer to drop. And I really think it's going to be September before we see a rate drop. Yes, the market would like to say June. I just don't see it happening this fast.
You have no influence?
They don't pay me any more than you do.
Damn it.
So no, I have no influence. But what I will say is what I am liking about what's happening with NAR right now, which is a sliver of hope, is the fact that it increases transparency. It increases conversation. I think in the end, there will be more professionalism because of it, and we'll get into that. But I think that that's also the case with interest rates. Interest rates are staying higher for longer. We have to continue to be able to support the value that we bring as lenders, as communities, as in relationship in supporting our buyers and sellers. We can't just keep telling people to wait until rates drop, but we have to continue to educate. And I think everything that's happening right now is requiring us to be better. Right? It's just requiring us to continue to educate ourselves so that we can be the best version of ourselves.
A true professionals market is at hand right now as we speak. I welcome that. Hopefully everybody else listening does too. If you're terrified of being in a professionals market, you probably should get out of a professionals market and understand that it's not for you. This is going to be hard work. It's going to be clumsy for a while, figuring out the details of how this is going to go forward. I liken it to a middle school dance. Just a lot of standing around and clumsy and like, you go talk to her. I don't want to talk to her. You go. Nobody knows what's going on. And then that one thing will happen and the party starts, right? So we're hoping to get there before July, should this get settled. So let's get into it. I want to introduce my friends. These are two of the smartest people I know out there. Leesa Baker, she is C.O.O. of RE Colorado. We've got Deb Shipley, who is VP of Corporate Communications and Marketing. I got it all. Yes. Didn't even have to look. So I'll start with Leesa. Tell us a little bit about your background with the MLS, what you do there, what it looks like, and then we'll shift to Deb, and then I want to get into the details here.
Let's do it. So thank you for having me.
Yes.
I have been at RE Colorado for 19 years. I have seen it all. I started as the compliance manager, and I was the most hated person because I was the one who always sent the notices. And I've just continued to grow from there to where now my day-to-day looks a lot like business development, relationship building, talking to vendors and partners, but yet I still oversee the customer success team, which has 23 people. That includes compliance, data integrity, the customer success, the education development, and the customer connection team. And we have a great time. We love what we do. We love being a partner.
Yeah, it's changed since you've really jumped into this position and more customer service centric, more focused on the consumer. It's fantastic. And I do like that you've been in real estate pretty much this whole time in one way, shape, or form. You were a transaction coordinator at one point.
I was. I had my license. I could not sell. I'm terrible. I couldn't sell water to an Eskimo. I couldn't. But my background has been in the legal administration field and paralegal, and so that's just kind of where my forte was. And when the compliance position came up, I just fell right in and just continued. I love the industry. I love the people. And I love that there's always opportunities.
That's great. Yeah, well, we're going to need them. We're going to need them.
We
All
are.
right. Deb Shipley, she's anxious. Her son's got a baseball game coming up. We are baseball nuts, her and I. But Deb Shipley, tell us about what you do, what it looks like, all that good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you so much for having us here today. So I've been with RE Colorado for actually 10 years next month. I was brand new to the real estate industry when I started here, so I continue to kind of bring that consumer perspective. What would happen, if I was in this situation? What happens if I was selling? What happens if I was buying? Because I don't, have that background of actually being a practitioner. So I love using that to our advantage. I get the great opportunity, have gotten the great opportunity over the course of my tenure at RE Colorado to just help build stronger partnerships with our subscribers by ensuring that they get all the communications that they need. I had the great opportunity to actually use that consumer focus to help consumers get the information they need. I was just listening to a podcast today where someone was saying that the MLS really is the connection to the consumer through the agent, right? Because the tools and the services that consumers need are provided by the agent through the MLS. So I love the fact that I get to bring that all together and help to make the brokers and agents and appraisers stronger in the industry.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And we'll talk more going forward about communication and what that looks like. I know there's some frustration with the communication at NAR and what we're not saying, what we can say legally. That's what I always have to tell people. NAR's not saying the things. We're like, their attorneys are telling them absolutely don't say, right? They want to, trust me, they want to say all these things. We just got to be very careful. So let's get into the details of this settlement. Leesa, you're so tuned in and plugged into what this is. Give us some highlights. I think most of the people that are listening, hopefully you've checked it out and you've read about it, but hit some high points and what really this means to our market and to you guys.
Great. The first thing that I want to highlight is don't panic. I think this is an amazing opportunity. Yes, is it a change? Yes, are there going to be some bumps and we have to figure it out? But I think it's an amazing opportunity for us as an industry to come together and unify and become more professional. And I think what we need to do is, as you said it earlier, Nicole, bring transparency. I think we forgot to talk, and that's what this is about. So I think the lawsuit, if anything, taught us we need to communicate, we need to show our value, and we need to work together as partners. But the lawsuit itself has a few fundamental changes, and we don't need to talk about the money because the money is what the money is. But what it will do for our industry is the MLS was always the term cooperation and compensation. Cooperation will always be there, but the compensation piece is what's being removed from the settlement. The settlement clearly states that there can no longer be an offer of compensation through the MLS. It is not removing compensation. It does not mean that the seller or listing broker cannot offer compensation to a buyer's agent. It just cannot be done through the MLS. The MLS can no longer be the vehicle. The other big point of this is that there must be a buyer representation agreement, that's the term in the settlement, that must be signed with the buyer and the buyer's agent prior to entering and touring a home. Those are probably the two biggest points.
So as a realtor, I can't take that call that says, hey, can you show me this house, the most sold property in the world, 123 Main Street, right? I want to go see this property. Can you just meet me out there? You're saying, no, you've got to have this buyer agency agreement.
First, you need to get that buyer's agency agreement. And I think this is where one of the positive changes of the lawsuit is it gives you an opportunity before you just say, meet me there, to talk about your value and get that document signed. I think that's where it's a very good positive because I think we're on such a hurry. Again, we stop talking. We just would meet them there and we don't learn enough about them and they don't learn enough about you, the agent, to understand the value you bring to them.
It's almost, it's like a drive-through fast food experience, right? Where we're saying slow it down, be the maitre d'.
Yep.
Let's ask and
fine experience.
Now, of course, I'm on the lending side, but it's so different how, and we talked about this earlier today, how the buyer's agents just jump into the conversation almost mid-paragraph, right? But the listing agents have to back up, prepare, write the essay, get the documents, edit, proofread the whole thing before you go into a listing appointment. And so I really do, I like that this slows everything down. I know as a lender, we were forced to do this. Of course, we had the Frank Dodd changes, and even most recently, we've had some competitive arrangements, like where you got a lot of people going to broker or a bank or more. Like right now, while interest rates are high and volatile, you have to be able to stake your claim on the value you bring as a lender. Otherwise, they can easily go online and get the lowest interest rate. Whereas that was always kind of seen as a, yeah, of course, on the listing side, it wasn't seen on the buyer's side. So now if somebody asks you for that, hey, can I just go tour this home? It's like, yes, I want to do that. But let me talk to you about the ways I bring value to this relationship. And they're there. I can see how valuable the buyer's agent is. Anybody that dismisses it just doesn't know.
There's even a greater, Nicole, I think, point is that now we need to work as a team. We need to work with the lenders, and especially the buyer's agent. Again, it was after the fact. If you do that up front, it changes the whole experience for the consumer, and you build lasting networking relationships, which, again, just show value to the industry, and it will stop these sensational headlines.
Guys, I'm sitting here. I got goosebumps just now. Like, I'm not kidding you of how much this can galvanize the team and elevate the experience. This is one thing we've talked about so much, is elevating professionalism in our industry from all areas. And I think this absolutely, to your point, slow down.
Yes.
Talk it out.
Yes.
Talk money early and often. Have a plan. Show your value. It's
Don't be ashamed.
And I think this even could help with safety, right? That not jumping right into showings, but really, if you have to go meet ahead of time and you have to get an agreement in place, then you're actually meeting that person, and it's actually putting your safety first as well.
Great point. Great
fantastic point.
And you you started out the conversation about not being overwhelmed or fearful of the changes and attacking this from an intelligent perspective. Like right now, as you bring up headlines, right now you have so much emotion in it. You will look at social media, if you open it up, it's all emotional. And it's fear, it's creating fear, I think, in consumers. So I've had friends of mine that are like, oh my gosh, I just had somebody give me a call and go, is your industry dying? Like, are you not going to be able to be a real estate agent anymore? And it's like, whoa, no, like that, we're not being thrown out with the trash. Like, we're even more important. But we have to be careful with what we put out there. We have to be careful not to be right there alongside the sensational headlines, and to be professional in all communications, including on social media, including what we put in the public right now. That whole idea of this becoming a professional relationship has to start at the very first thing, which it's your calling card.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what I'm seeing out there in the social media world, and Deb's probably cringing at all the communications that she's seeing, but rather than saying, damn this, or the F the media, or
blame everybody,
NAR screwed up. No, stop it. What if your posts were more positive and saying, I am anxious to get to the resolution here so I can establish even more value for what I do? Who's the consumer going to go with?
That's right. And you're the expert that they rely on. They're going to come to you for the facts. You know, give them the facts. That we know that the media is going to put out those sensational headlines. They're there to sell subscriptions. They're there to sell advertising.
Let them do it.
They're going to do that. This too shall pass. Be there. Be the person that your clients rely on.
You're going to prove your value.
Yes.
I think they always talk about now commission compression. Yes. I think it's going to go opposite, because the value is going to be stated, it's going to be earned, it's going to be transparent, and you're going to be able to ask a lot more for that, because there is worth to that. And I think as an industry, we shied away from those conversations. And I think we got lazy because there was that offer, and instead of promoting what value we do bring. So I really look at this as really an exciting time. So don't let the fear get you. Let's just go and have fun.
Get busy.
Isn't it fun to talk about when you do something good? So let's do something good.
Let's do that. I love it. So there's a lot obviously happening with the settlement between brokerages, agents, consumers, the whole thing. But then there's this big linchpin in the middle that is the MLS. I always see you guys, it's almost the center point of the hub, right? It's where all data flows. It's the most trusted source that we've all used for decades and decades. So what do these changes look like for you, and what specifically is going to happen? And then, Deb, I'd like to hear from you on that. And then, Deb, what does messaging look like? My goodness, as a corporation that's going through this change, it's got to be a daily just holy smokes, what are we talking about today? So I'd love to dig into the specifics on both of those.
Great. From the MLS, there's not going to be too many changes other than the field of compensation will no longer be allowed in the MLS. So we will, at some point, the settlement says by July, but remember the settlement is not yet approved by the court, so we don't want to be premature. So that will go away. The other thing we are looking at doing is the settlement allows for concessions, and we currently have a field for concessions in the MLS, but it's only available upon when you close a listing. So we had already been working on cleaning up that concession field and making it very clear what you had your concession for and what a dollar amount was attached to that concession, rather than just concessions check and a dollar amount check. So it'll be itemized for you. We're looking and hoping that we can add that to the input side. And we don't know and we don't have clarity, but there are some items we'd like to put in that checkbox that would indicate that a buyer would know and a buyer's agent would know that the listing broker and or seller may be willing to negotiate. Right now, that's an unknown. We don't know if we can do that because the settlement is still not clear. We need clarity and guidance, but that's something we're hoping we can do because we still feel it's important to let them know they're willing to negotiate, and you will do that then outside the MLS.
Yeah. Okay. So then the messaging side, is it a constant daily, like, okay, we got to do this now and then that? And
well, I mean, yes. I mean, our goal certainly is to let all of our stakeholders know what we know just as soon as we, possibly can. We heard about this, read about it in the New York Times at the same time everybody else did. We had, although we anticipated a resolution to, to this, we were informed about it at the same time everybody else was. But we're really fortunate, being one of the largest MLSs in the United States, we have a great team of experts who could read through all of the documents, and we also have connections throughout the industry, really smart folks who are reading through all of the documents so that we can really kind of understand what it means and then get the information out as soon as possible. So that's what we've done. We've held broker forums. And then we held the event today. So we're really trying to get out there. We know that our subscribers, that our stakeholders all look to us for guidance. They call us for everything, and we really pride ourselves in being able to answer all their questions. This is no different. We want to get them as much information as we can, as quickly, as transparently as possible. So we're holding more broker forums next week, and we're really going to just do everything we can to get the word out.
So I know that real estate is different from state to state. Contracts are different from state to state. And MLS is vary even within a state. So are you finding, is there a lot of collaboration between the MLSs across the state, since this is now a federal change that is going to supersede any state regulation, right? So how much of that are you doing?
Well, we actually, all week, we've been on calls with our peers in the industry and some experts in the industry, so we're doing that. But the one thing we have to make very clear is that the changes could be consistent, but they're going to be tailored for each market, and I think that's the key. There has to be things that work for each market. So you're not going to see a blanket policy of this is what the change will look like. And it is because there's different regulations. So we're all doing similar things, but they'll be each have their unique flair, and it will be tailored to that specific market and the needs of that market. And I think that's the key here. We have to be crucial. There isn't a one size fits all for this.
Right.
And so it will have some consistency, but each market will look a little different.
To your point, each contract in a state is different, right? We don't operate on the same. We don't close on the same platform, right? Some
Correct.
are attorney states, some are at the table states. So that was always been my question: is how are we going to standardize this one thing to 50 different states that do it very differently?
It won't be. It will be similar.
Okay.
But again, I think that shows the value. I think it shows the value, especially for those that have license in multiple states. You're going to have to learn a little bit more, but you're going to be able to talk about that value. Hey, we do it like this in this state or this market, but this is what we do here. And we'll find what works well and what doesn't. And as time goes on, I think you'll see those inconsistencies becoming more consistent through that.
Yeah.
I would think so. So how has the NAR settlement changed or adjusted, or do you see changes or adjustments coming for RE Colorado operations? Like within your business, is it changing anything specifically? I know that you're having to change these fields. Are you having to change any of your operational makeup?
No. We were prepared. We knew that this has been going on for years. And I don't think as a business you can't plan for the unknown. You have to always work with what you do know, because there's always going to be something. So we've had strategic plans in place, and we look at them every year. We adjust them every year. So it's business as usual. So there might be some things we have to, again, change in the system. But as far as our strategy and our policy and our vision, that's not changing, nor is the makeup of RE Colorado and its organization itself.
Okay. So the vision is what it is. You're committed to it. You were already in this position of knowing change is coming, so let's prepare ahead of time. We're not getting caught pants down, not sure what the heck to do next. You guys are on it.
We always knew we were more than just that compensation piece. We are a business partner. As you said, we're the hub. And what we want to do is increase that, and we want to bring that transparency and make it easier and more efficient for this industry to work. So that's where we were going. That's where we'll continue to go, and we'll just deal with this as anything else that comes up.
How do you, and this might be a controversial question, which welcome to Why It Matters. Let's get into it, right? Internally in your state or in your region, anytime there's change, one thing that I've seen in real estate, anytime there's massive change, mergers and acquisitions and consolidations are right behind it. That is the next following piece. It's almost like the circus. They're the trash people picking up the poop and the all this stuff, right? It's the mergers, acquisitions, and consolidations. Now, I'm not pinning you to any one thing or asking you to disclose if there's, I don't even know if there's conversations, but do you see the same? And does the market see that there's strength in numbers and consolidations, or are we still hanging on to our own fiefdoms and our own little things here?
I'll give you the politically correct question answer.
Damn you!
And then I will tell you the real answer. The politically correct answer is probably not.
Okay.
What I hope will happen is that it will happen. Because I think it needs to. I don't think that we need over 500 MLSs in this state. As a broker, you have a license that works in the state. And so we shouldn't have these fiefdoms, and we shouldn't fear that I have to join or belong here or I'll lose my money. What we should do is we need to collaborate as a state, and that is really our call from RE Colorado. We want to work with everyone in the state. We want to make sure that we have statewide data, and that is our push. So we would love to work it. It doesn't always have to be a merger or an acquisition. There are plenty of ways we can do this. But if we don't band together now, our consumers have access to more data, comprehensive data, than our realtors, our brokers, and agents do. And we're doing it to ourselves. So the one thing that I hope comes out of this, and you can see I'm very passionate about this, as a state, we need to lay down our armors, and we need to find a way to work together and get the data to everyone. Or guess what? All of these changes we're making may not matter, because there will be someone else who will come in who can pay for this data and take us out. And there are companies that are already right there. So that's our goal.
That's right. And it's not just what we want. It's what brokers and agents want. It's what all real estate professionals want. I mean,
every day,
everybody.
Yes,
absolutely.
I don't think any realtor wants to, a real estate agent wants to belong to 4 different MLSs, especially if you're butt up against where the line is. And there are the major data collector companies who are ready to give that data across the board. And you guys serve such a unique and powerful need that I would hate for people to overstep that. One of the questions that came up in our presentation that I think is valuable in asking is, do you see that, especially when sellers have the opportunity to not pay, to negotiate, whatever that looks like, can they go straight to the MLS and can they list their listing so that agents can have access?
You look to me. They cannot. And that's something I want to make very clear, and I said that earlier today. We are a subscription base. We're here for realtors. We will never let a consumer get direct access, because there's a value. There is a value you bring. And so we will never allow that. That does not mean that brokers can't work with certain for sale by owners who have certain needs, but they will never have direct access to the MLS. Our goal, though, is to make sure that we find ways for brokers to work with that market and segment, because again, it's another opportunity, and that inventory gets brought to our realtors.
That's right, and that's really part of our philosophy and part of our vision is to continue to focus on providing choice. You know, we serve Colorado as varies in terms of markets. You have, the luxury markets, you have the rural lands, the farm and land, the resorts, the downtowns, the suburbs, and we want to make sure as a business partner that you have an MLS that no matter how you practice your business, what kind of clients you serve, you can look to RE Colorado to be your partner and to provide you what you need to provide the best service you can.
One thing that RE Colorado has always had, and this has always been interesting to me, is and that most of the nation does not have, and that is access for licensees into the MLS, right? You don't have to have your realtor membership to get into the MLS, which I thought was always interesting, and it's from a long time ago lawsuit that was settled. But will that change anything? Are you seeing non-realtors increasing in numbers? Where do you see that going forward?
Yes. So I'm, again, going to be a little politically correct here. We are realtor-owned, and we believe in the realtor brand. However, if you're not a realtor, you can subscribe to RE Colorado. You always have been able to. So if you have your license, you can subscribe to RE Colorado. What we have done is we want access to that data, and we want everyone to be able to operate by the same set of rules. So although a licensee can't adhere to the code of ethics, we do have a code of conduct that they have to follow so that everyone is playing by the same rules and has the same type of professionalism. Yeah. So we are seeing an increase because of some of the settlements that were done prior. There was an arrangement that they no longer had to be a realtor to have access to the MLS. Since we've always had that, it wasn't a big change for us, but we are seeing an increase of people dropping their realtor association. Yeah. And I think that too is an opportunity for the associations and NAR to talk about their advocacy and the value that they bring, because that too, I think, has been lost in some of this. So that's why people are saying, oh, well, I can just drop it. So great. But for RE Colorado, it's always been that way, and it will always, because of a lawsuit, be that way.
Yeah. I'm excited about the opportunity to narrow focus, right? Yep. Let's go deep into what we're great at. I don't need to do the 25 other things. Just give me the 3 things I do amazing, and I will dominate that space. And I think that's a huge opportunity.
And there's so much conversation with this going on right now, especially on social media, about, what is it if I can't, if it's watered down, if my position as a buyer's agent, if I have to prove the cost, or if I'm not going to get paid, which really the only people are saying if I don't get paid are the ones that can't express their value, right? So that kind of goes hand in hand. But that conversation is then leading to, well, I'll become a lender and I'll just package the deal. Or lenders saying, well, I'll become a realtor, or I'll become a licensed real estate agent and I'll package the deal. You don't need a buyer's agent. I can do the work. I can, I've seen enough contracts. I can jump on Dora and I can fill in the blanks. The whole thing scares the crap out of me, because I'm a lender and I take pride in the fact that I know guidelines, I know structure, I know strategies, I know long-term visioning, and I pride myself on having those relationships, those deep relationships with real estate agents that are equal in their professionalism. And you start blending that, and all of a sudden everybody's watered down, and it just goes against this whole idea of elevating our level of professionalism.
That's right. I thought you were going to say you're going to go get your license.
Oh, my God.
I was about to jump over this.
Will you not be my friend anymore?
We're done. I
mean, but it goes back to, this really is the largest purchase people make in their lives. Yes. I mean, you have so much value, and it's not just a house. It is a neighborhood. It's a community. I mean, the buyer's agent brings so much value to the table.
I think we need to remember this is one of the most infrequent, massive events in our lives, right? We don't do it often. Some of us do it once or twice. There's some out there that move quite a bit, but it is an infrequent event that needs to be serviced the correct way. And I still think there's a place at the table for everybody to show their professionalism, and I'm not shying away from this at all whatsoever.
I'm not either.
Let's get it. Let's go. So, all right. So is there anything else we want to talk settlement? I'm about done with settlement stuff.
The settlement is getting old. The one thing I'm going to say about the settlement that does concern me is we want to make sure professionalism does rise, and we don't want the steering to occur. Yes. So what we do not want is buyer's agents, if they find out about compensation, and if it's not what they think it should be, that they don't show these homes to their buyers. Because one thing that happened a few years ago that I thought was great for transparency was the disclosure of the compensation being offered. So a buyer knew, a buyer's agent knew, it was out there. That is going to be removed now. And so it is going to make it so those who are not as ethical as others, make it very easy for them to not show those homes to those clients. And that's what scares me. So I think as an industry, we need to address that before it gets addressed for us. So other than that, I'm done with the settlement, and we just get back to business.
And that conversation could be really interesting. It could go one of two ways. I mean, if you have to, there's going to be some sort of conversation on how that information is going to be sent out, right? Yep. Whether you have a website on the MLS public remarks, as we discussed, or if you're going to have, I was at a DMAR meeting and we were talking about the fact that we put procedures in place during COVID and during the pandemic when somebody requested a showing on showing time, a PDF or showing regulations or, make sure to put your shoes on, make sure to wipe up with this. A PDF of information was sent back out to the agent. So the question is, will we use that mode? Will we use just a website mode? Will we have another sheet of paper or listing?
I've actually talked to a brokerage this week. They were actually in, and Deborah and I were in the meeting. And that was a suggestion they had, is anytime someone calls for a showing, we're going to make it part of our script, let them know, and even potentially send them something in writing. So you see brokers are being creative, and that's what we want to see. Yeah. This is bringing about, I think, a much-needed change, and kind of fun to see the creativity that they're coming up with.
It's interesting. This last year, there was a massive hack into an MLS, a company. I don't want to say the name; it's not fair, but they were hacked and out of business for a month or for a week or two, right?
They were out for 6 weeks.
6
total.
weeks.
Wow.
And they just came back fully online in the end of November.
It's crazy. So what happens in the meantime? And this is a good case study for, I think, how resourceful and how collaborative a market can be, right? So you've got this MLS is down in your market. How the hell am I going to learn about listings? Yeah. This is true collaboration where in that market, brokerages were sharing data, sharing information, teaming up to get the consumers taken care of. That exact same thing will happen in some way, shape, or form.
It will. Our industry is under attack. And one thing we're doing at RE Colorado is we have business continuity plans. So if we get hacked, we have almost every scenario out there of what do we do to get back up. And we do have backup data and we have tertiary databases. So if that happens, we could get back online, and we have a set protocol of what do we do. Doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect, but you have to plan for those things. And Deborah's team is a large part of that, of making sure the communications happen correctly for that. But we as a state need to make sure we have security and that we share. So if someone does get attacked, that we can bring that market up online.
That's right, and opportunities to really work together so that we could be the backup if anyone else gets attacked as well. So I think that's important for us to collaborate on those things.
So much going on. I'm tired. It's just sack groceries or something here.
I think it's been like a week.
Thanks.
Way to go, endurance man.
Hang in there, Justin.
We're going to not touch that one because,
it could go a lot of
blushing.
I am blushing.
He's always one shade of red or another.
Well, it is going to be a long game. I think we've got to stay in it. Communication is absolutely going to be the key to success here, and bringing all, as Deborah said, is bringing all shareholders and stakeholders to the table for one line of communication that we all trust. And again, the MLS to me is always that trusted source. It always has been. It will continue to be. I don't trust anybody else for that kind of data. So we're relying on you guys heavily. I'm staring right at you, Deb.
We're ready.
It's on you.
We are ready.
Yes.
She's got this.
Yeah, we're ready. So let's talk outside the settlement. I think if you guys have any more questions about the settlement, number one, go online and read. There's 5 million articles about it. Or call me. That's fine.
But read the right things, right? I mean, that's the thing, is there's so much on social media. Don't go down the rabbit trails. And I've done it, and it's disturbing what some people are talking about. And if you have to decide which way is the high road and which way is the low road, then get counsel, right? Because we should all know this. And take the high road. Just wait it out. The truth is coming.
The truth is coming.
What I believe. Bingo. You just keep taking the high road.
Yeah. In the meantime, focus on your own personal vision, what your value proposition. Those are overused words, but I do think there's such depth in what your value proposition is what are you actually doing for people? Not what you say you're going to, what you actually do. It's much more than you guys probably think. So spend time on that now. So when it comes to data, like this, obviously we know data is this why you're here, right? It's the gold that you guys are mining all the time. What is your philosophy? Because it has changed over the years of protecting the data. We don't really even know most of the time who is considered the owner of the data. Is it the homeowner? Is it the listing agent? Is it the MLS, the brokerage? We don't need to get into that. But what are you guys doing with this valuable resource of data going forward and maybe partnering with other tech, or what does that look like?
Deb, would you like to take it, or you want me to?
Well, I'll let you take it, but first, I just want to let everyone know that as a marketing communication professional, I never thought I could be this excited about data. It really, really is cool. And if you take a minute to learn about it, I think, and think about it from multiple perspectives, the listing by listing perspective, yes, absolutely, you need that to serve your customer, but as a whole, the data is really exciting, and what we're doing with the data. How's that for a lead-in?
That's perfect. You will hear us say the word insights a lot. Okay. And let's back up historically. The MLSs shut everyone else off. We closed the sieve on the data. But that doesn't mean the data didn't leak out. Yep. Mm-hmm. And so that's what started this, I think, this whole problem of not being good stewards of the data. Our philosophy is anyone who's in this life cycle of residential real estate, we need to play together. So how do we do that? So our philosophy is we'll partner with someone that has the permissible uses and are a good actor with us, but we also want their data back. Because the more data and the rich data sets that we have, the insights we can bring you. We are sitting on a treasure trove, if you said a gold mine, and we've just touched the surface of the information we should be able to pull out and give to mortgage companies, to title companies. It shouldn't just stay with realtors. So our philosophy now is working with those players in the industry and figuring out how we can partner together, and Justin's smiling because we have something really fun working with him, but to get access properly to that data, because we need to share that, but we need to do it responsibly. And I believe our brokers have trusted us, and we can do that. So that's really what our goal is to work with others, be responsible, and make sure we're providing services. And let's get everybody back on and do things up above the board.
So
access the data.
So thinking about data beyond it being a listing, but more of it being a property record, just to bring that to life. So sure, you have the data that is entered in as a listing, but to expand that beyond using other data sources, it just is really exciting. So it helps that listing live beyond the transaction, and it helps bring even more power and insights to agents to grow their businesses, to grow their relationships. It's very exciting.
Yeah, you've historically thought of data during the life of the listing. We're looking at it as beyond. And that what can we do to help brokers and agents once that listing is done? We have anniversary dates. We have market information. Why can't we help them stay in touch with their clients? Again, this is a relationship business. So that's how we're looking at data, completely different than we did in the past.
And oh, by the way, we also want to get more listings. We have a growth strategy in place where we do want to get more listings, whether that is by growing our territory, but also making partnerships with other MLSs throughout Colorado, throughout the United States. We're taking a look at migration patterns to make sure that we're really making partnerships with those other MLSs that are really going to bring value back into our market. We know, for example, that lots of folks move here from Florida. So why not do a data sharing partnership so that we can get more visibility for Colorado listings to folks in Florida and vice versa? So both the breadth and the depth of the data, which is why I'm so excited.
What a company philosophy to think ahead and be where things are going rather than where they are. That is so refreshing. And for me, it instills more confidence and trust in you guys. And I'm not just saying that because you're here. It really does. There's an actual plan with this, and not just to use it and monetize it for your own good, but to use it for our good and for the consumer's good. It's exciting to me. So, all right, what else you got?
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
But, so I do want to touch on, and I don't want to go knee deep on this, but since we're talking about the NAR lawsuit and what impact it could have, obviously, whether or not the seller decides to offer a commission to the buyer's agent or not, it impacts the loan. It impacts the buyer, right? And there's a lot of negotiating going on around what will FHFA do, what will Fannie Mae do, what will FHA do, VA. I mean, the VA buyers aren't even allowed to pay their own buyer's commission at this time. So as all of this starts to unpack, I know that there's been a lot of people talking with those agencies, right? Every lender's talking to the agencies. I know the MLS is talking to the agencies. I know for a fact NAR is talking to the agencies. Everybody's trying to get their arms around what this is going to do. Right now, it is assumed that none of the agencies are going to allow those commissions to be rolled into the loan to value. They're going to be allowed them to be rolled into the loan.
Can't finance it.
Cannot finance the buyer's commission.
Okay.
But what we can do, which is what we've always done, which is increase the purchase price to roll it in. So in effect, what you are doing is rolling it in. Another thing that has been said is that they won't see any of the buyer's commission to go against the IPC, the interested party contributions. So ultimately, that will still stay as specific to any concessions that are given outside of paying for the buyer's commission. So those are good things. Now VA's got to figure out what they're going to do and allow. Obviously, they're going to have to allow the buyer to pay that in order to allow VA buyers to be competitive in this market going forward.
That is one place that does make me sad and nervous at once
Yes.
is that VA side. So there's going to be a lot of attention need to be brought to that. So hopefully we'll get it right, and the right people are working on it. So you'll be bringing update. You're studying this.
I am
all the time,
regularly.
Nerd.
And constantly looking for the solutions. So this is what I love about this kind of conversation. I mean, bringing in the MLS source, right? RE Colorado, and sitting down with a real estate agent, a coach, a professional, myself as a lender, and we all have to come together and be advocates for one another. Instead of saying, I can do your job better than you, I'm just going to get licensed and do it, whatever way it goes, then it's to say, no, I want you to do your best job.
We're better together.
And I want to do my best job, right? Yep. And if we all stand in that level of professionalism and educate ourselves and provide creative solutions that are above board, right? It's like take the high road, be professional, find the creative solutions, and ultimately be able to react with a way that supports the seller and the buyer in finalizing their vision and their vision of home ownership and selling that home and buying that home. I mean, coming together. We can make this. This is not difficult. It's just unknown. Yep. We can get past this like we have everything else.
Yeah. Don't let fear paralyze you. And I think that happens so much. And then that's when the panic and things set in. Don't let it. Just take a breath.
Yes.
And let's work together.
Yes.
And we'll resolve
Put down
this.
the pen, set the keyboard to the side, take a deep breath.
Actually converse with each other. All right, so I want to wrap this because there's so much meat here. There's so much more to come. This isn't approved. There's going to be amendments. There's going to be things that happen stateside that are maybe not going to happen in other states. So there's a lot more to come, and we promise we're going to be delivering that news to you guys, and we'd love to have you guys help with that if you're up for it.
We would love
to. You come back here and do this?
We would. Deborah, we will.
We
will
will
indeed. No baseball games that day.
We are taking this to extra innings, by the way.
Wow, that is fantastic. It's our baseball-related podcast. So I want to end, we always kind of end with, the why it matters. Why does this matter? But if there's something that the agent can walk away with, the professional out there, the lender, whoever is listening to this, what is your thoughts for where they should be going now? I just want to see what you guys have to say here.
Well, yeah, I think we really covered it in terms of, trust the source of the information. You can trust RE Colorado. We're doing everything we can to get you the accurate and timely information. Stay away from the headlines, as Nicole mentioned, and just get out there and do what you do really well. Lots of value. You have great value. Give yourself credit for that, and tell your clients about it. To shout it from the mountaintops. But I think we covered a lot of great things today.
Yeah. You guys, the messaging. This is coming from Deborah, who runs marketing and messaging for a large corporation. Take heed. Take note. This is what needs to be happening. Leesa, any parting?
I'm going to sum it up simple, and we use this in RE Colorado a lot. Tell your story.
Love that.
Tell your story.
Yep.
I love that. That is the
that will take care of it all.
I tell my kids that all the time when they come home. It drives them nuts. I'm like, tell me a story about your day, right? Tell me a story. And they're like, can't you just ask me how my day was?
No.
It's fine.
That's a cop-out,
You have boys, right?
Yes.
Boys?
Yeah.
How was your day? Fine.
No, I'm like, I want to tell me a story.
Yeah, you want the juice behind it.
Yes.
Absolutely. Hey, parents out there, that is a great nugget. I'm going to use that tonight. Tell me a story
Tell me a
about your day.
story from your day.
That's brilliant.
But, this is, it's been a whirlwind. It's been an emotional whirlwind. I can say from the moment we heard about it for the very first time, everyone together on Friday after picking our jaws up from the ground, going, what just happened? I think there was a massive spin out. And those people who have stood out as, I'm just going to say data aggregators, right? You're a data aggregator. I'm a data aggregator. Those of us that have stood up and said, look, we want to present solutions. We want to educate. I know that we were swarmed with questions, and it was You and I had talked so many times. How you doing? Are you still holding up? You're standing up, right? Because we are also empathic. Like we take that on. So I know we've taken on a lot since this has begun, and I think that there's still yet more discourse before we find the rhythm. But I think in all of that, my takeaway is if we come together and bind each other with other professionals with seals of protection, knowing that we're doing something so much bigger than any one of us alone could ever dream of achieving, then not only will we stand firmer in a sea of professionals when this is all done, but this industry will stand firmer as seen as an industry of professionals. Because if you think of an attorney, if you think of a physician, if you think of an accountant, and if you think of a real estate agent, I don't think that right now they're on that same level. Right. And they should be. In fact, I will tell a room full of professionals, of real estate agents, that we have a more important job than, and I'm sorry if you're a financial planner, you can close your ears, than a financial planner, because we have more access to people who don't have access to financial planners. So we have the ability to change lives and pull people out of a net wealth of $10,000 of renting into a net wealth of hundreds of thousands of dollars. We have that ability. So I am only looking forward to the outcome. I just know that there's a bit of road between here and there, and I'm up for the challenge.
It truly is one of the moments that will define us.
This is a moment.
Is that a song?
It's
not that I.
Madness.
Back to basketball. Yeah, baseball and basketball. Doesn't matter.
See what my simple brain is. It is not. I will say, guys, do this to yourselves anytime possible that you can, and that is surround yourself with 3 people or more that are much smarter than you, and that's exactly what I've done in this room today. I've learned so much. My mind is racing, and challenge yourself to be the dumb one at the table like I am right now, which is great. I will say for my realtor friends out there, I do have a bit of advice for you. Number 1, engage with your MLS today. Go take their development classes. I 100% guarantee you there are tools, efficiencies, and systems within their product that will make your business more profitable, more enjoyable, and a better experience for your end user, your clients. So put those on your schedules. Go, as soon as you're done here, go log in to your MLS and book classes. 2 per month should be the absolute minimum. That is a challenge I have for you. Number 2, your buyer presentation better be on point, if not better than your listing presentation. Yes. The listing presentation has dominated how we run business for many years, and we put most of our effort into that buyer agency, that buyer representation presentation better be on point. You better talk money early and often, and early and often, and do it again and again and again. Yes. The last thing I'll say is, well, maybe not the last thing. I always say that. I'm a talker, right?
You had us go around the table and say one thing.
I know, but
how did you get 4 things?
Because I'm just, I don't know. Just give me my moment, please.
Surrounded by women. Get this over with. Come
I gotta
on.
get it in while I can.
We got places to go.
The thing I will say is, a lot of you pretend to be great negotiators. Yeah. Oh, I'll out negotiate them, or I'm going to go and negotiate. We're fitting to find out who the real negotiators are in this market, because it's going to take you negotiating with your buyer, with your seller, with another agent, through the whole transaction. So if you are pretending to be a great negotiator because that's what it says in your bio, you better substantiate it and enroll in some good classes. I know NAR has that accredited buyer class that's going on right now, buyer agent class. It's amazing. That'll give you some negotiation tips. So stop bullshitting yourselves and get real with what you actually are. Accept your shortcomings and go get educated on these things. But things are changing quickly, and they're going to continue. So you want to wrap us up?
This has been a phenomenal episode of Why It Matters, because this is why we do what we do, right? Because it does matter so much. Yep. So been an honor to be with you both. Leesa, Deb, thank you for joining us today. Justin, as always, it's a pleasure.
We'll do it again
Love
soon.
It when I can turn you red. Yay. It's game on. It's a successful episode. You guys make it a great day. Share us. Don't keep us a secret. Make sure to share this episode, this podcast, because together we can make such a difference. Yep. Talk to you soon.